the NFL Power Rankings came out. Also, the NFL schedule came out for our beloved Cleveland Browns. And our very special guest, Reggie Langhorne, joins the show. You can catch us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Radio Line, and Spreaker, and also on Patreon. Let's get it. What up, YouTube? What up, Facebook, and all the social media networks? Or good afternoon. It's TMDE Sports, where we talk about everything sports related and our beloved Cleveland Browns. Wow, do we got a great show for y'all tonight? We got a special guest, but let me introduce our cast member. Christy Acuti's in the building. Christy, let them know what's good, baby.
Hey, so it's kind of quiet over here because I don't have my sound machine going with the cheering and the applause, but that's okay because you guys all know I can be loud enough as it is. I'm super excited about today's show.
No doubt. All right, now let's introduce our special guest. This man is a Cleveland Browns legend. He was selected by the Browns in the 7th round in the 1985 draft. He played 7 seasons with the Browns and 2 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed pleasure. Reggie Langhorne is in the building. Reggie, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? How's everybody doing?
Reggie, I got to ask you, what have you been up to lately? What do you do with your time? And just tell us about what's going on in your world right now.
Well, I was in the car business for 11 years, selling cars. And then I worked for Channel 19 on the tailgate with Josh Gribbs and Rick Metcalf and Tony Zarella. I also work as a NFL uniform inspector on game day with Felix Wright, who's been doing it about 22 years. This, I believe, is my 9th season. So on game day on Sundays, I'm either on the field or on the television show doing something. I'm now starting a new company. It'll be called 88 and Out the Gate. I'm going to start my own driving service. We'll have, we won't have limousines, but we'll have Sprinter vans. We'll have Suburbans and Yukons to get people to and fro. I'm thinking about trying to put something together where I can pick families up for games on Sunday and deliver them to their homes safely as a package deal. So that might be a cool thing. And maybe I can have one of my teammates ride in the limousine or in the vehicle with me to bring a little excitement to game day festivities for some family.
Oh my gosh. Mr. Deacon, could you imagine if the BFO admins were in Cleveland for our game and they ordered Mr. Reggie Langhorne to pick them up, to take them to the game? Like, that would be so freaking cool. Like, I'm ready to like burst into tears. Like, that is such an awesome idea. But
it is.
I do want to ask you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to mean to cut you off. But you honestly, Reggie, that is a wonderful idea because Cleveland needs that. You know, it's a lot of people who, especially, you know, in the underdeveloped cities, you know, Maple, different stuff like that, they need, because a lot of these fans, they need that. Some of them, they get a ticket and they can't get to the game. So I think that's a wonderful idea what you're coming up with. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, that is super cool. So I do want to ask, what do you do as a uniform inspector? That, like, I saw on a show where like the guys, they prep the different balls and stuff and they inspect those.
I don't do balls. I don't do balls.
But you do uniforms and I want to hear about that.
So, the main thing of our job is to protect the integrity of the National Football League. And one of the first things we do when we get to the stadium is to verify to make sure the teams have Microsoft and Bose equipment that they're using in the coaching rooms, which are usually upstairs. And then and we go from there. We make sure guys have the proper length jerseys on, the socks are done right, the pants aren't pulled up too high. You know, all the things that we have on Odell Beckham's here, the different shoes and all those things. It's just to verify that guys are up to spec with what the NFL expects them to wear. Usually in the preseason, it becomes an issue because you get so many guys out of college that want to wear their own things. And then we get it down to where we get them where they're prepared for the National Football League. And I got a 2-year-old boxer here who I just let out of her little cage,
Is
and
that
she
the
wants to
speaker?
play. That's the squeaker. My puppy Matilda. She wants to play.
Well, we love dogs, so
Right.
we don't mind.
I'm hearing it. All right, y'all, let's get down to it. As you well know, there's two things we're gonna cover tonight. We're gonna cover. I'm gonna ask Reggie about the Browns and the power rankings. The Browns are at number 9, and then the next question we're gonna talk about the schedule that just came out. You know, Christy thinks the Browns are gonna go 14-3. Reggie, I don't think so. I think the Browns more 12-5, but we're gonna get to that. So the first thing I want to ask you, as you will, like I said, the Browns are ranked number 9. Reggie, I want to ask you, do you think the Browns should be number 9, or do you think we should be lower? How do you feel about that ranking coming out?
Can I say something about the preseason in April and March and May and June football? It means nothing. It means absolutely zero when you start talking about this team is rated here, and you know it only matters September 10th when they kick the ball off against Cincinnati and how they perform. I could care less where I would be ranked going into a situation. If I'm ranked lower, fine. It just pisses me off to be up. And if you ranked higher, it just gets more other guys pissed off to get a piece of you. So, I mean, I get it. I know everybody's got to do some statistical thing that makes everybody make sense of what they're doing sports-wise. But the bottom line is it's going to be 53 men playing against the other 53, and who's prepared to play on opening day. No one has ever won a Super Bowl in May. So it doesn't matter. That's just my opinion.
True.
I heard that. Christy, what do you think about that real quick, Christy?
No, I mean, he's right. And, you know, we kind of knew going into last season that it was going to be kind of a wash. And this season is totally different because we have Deshaun for the whole entire season, you know, and we've got, you know, so many people in place. We've got our defensive line beefed up. We've got our defensive coach now that everybody is super excited about. Like, you know, so there are so many different elements going into this season. But yeah, you know, nothing matters until we kick off that first game. So
you have to be excited for what they did to try to to fill in the holes. Obviously, the defensive line was an issue because people ran the ball down our throat last year, and it should have been fixed. Or defensively, we should have come up with schemes that could slow people down, but we didn't do very well at it. Mm-hmm. And I thought Jacoby Brissett played as well as any backup quarterback could possibly play in the National Football League to give us a shot to make a run for the playoffs. We just couldn't take it over the hump. I think this team is in a good position with players. I think offensively, they've tightened the screws up in a lot of places. They did good with the draft, and they'll pick up some more free agents. I'm sure it all works out. Guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to play better than some are expected. Who picks up the scheme well enough, early enough to be able to start opening day will be a big thing. And then I think Coach Schwartz, he was an old coach that was here back in the early 90s when Bill Belichick was here. So it's nice to see somebody that's got some old municipal stadium blood. Yeah. That's something we haven't had in a long time. We've had a lot of Cleveland or First Energy kind of blood, a lot of red wine drinkers, where we haven't had any shot and beer municipal stadium people work with the team. Right now, we got a shot and beer Jim Schwartz that will bring a little bit of fire to that defense, which is always good to see on the defensive side of the football.
I've been super excited ever since we picked him up, just because I followed him when he was at the Eagles and Tennessee before. So I've been stoked about having Schwartz, and I've got a big heart for defensive players. I don't know why I love them all so much, but this makes me super happy because I know that our defense is going to be just kick ass this season.
Yeah.
No doubt. So let me squeeze this one in, because Reggie, I'm with you all. I believe in the same thing you're saying. Nobody wins in May. We haven't had rookie camp yet. OTAs, mandatory. None of that has happened yet. People, and I hate to say it, and I know Christy's gonna be like, but I'm not putting it in the universe. Just making a statement that people get hurt. Certain things happen. We don't wish that. We don't want that to happen, but that's why we have to establish so much depth when it comes to those positions. We need that. We need more linebackers, but it is what it is. But I got to ask you this. What is your opinion of Kevin Stefanski? I got to ask you that. Do you think he can get it done?
So I think, no. I just take my time when I'm asked a question that is important, and I don't want to make light of it either way. I like him as an organizer. I like what they've done as a group. Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, the whole group. I think they've done a nice job putting a system in place, which is something we have been missing for 20 years. We were flying by the seat of our pants, new general manager, new head coach, new this. We never had any consistency in the front office with men working together to try to obtain the big goal, which is win the Super Bowl. In that light, I've enjoyed watching what they do. I'm come from the school of either teaching or hard nose. It's just because that was a way that I was taught to play the game. It's because of the way that Martin Schottenheimer was such a coach. He could get more out of his players. I don't know that Kevin Stefanski can or cannot do that. It's just something I haven't seen. Last year, we had a team good enough to play 3 or 4 games hard-nosed football. We would play 1 week and take 3 weeks off. We could never perform consistently for 4 quarters. All those things, to me, I don't know if it's personnel. I don't know if it's coaching, leadership. All I know is that they were not ready to play in some games. They were not ready to play in the 4th quarter in some games. That goes back to the guy with the title. Now, can he do it this year? And for me, it's important for all of us to take a look at ourselves and do self-evaluation. We sit around our peers and we got to take what they think we're not doing well so we can get better. Self-criticism. And I think that's a big deal. If he thinks he's doing a great job, then he'll never get better at what he's doing. If he thinks he's failing in some places and he let the team down, which I've heard him say that he puts it on himself. Hell, he said that for 17 weeks last year. Well, now it's time to put all that together. Can he get it done? I believe he can. Will he get it done? It's still yet to be seen. Again, this is not a game because you're a coach in the National Football League. They're going to pass you a Super Bowl. You've got to earn it. You've got to get your players to play above themselves a lot of times when they don't feel like it, when they're hurt. You've got to get guys that want to get into the nuts and bolts of playing football. So you've got to get the young guys educated on how to be a pro early in the year. Perion Winfrey. We've got to figure out what's going on with this guy. He's a draft pick. We expect more from him. You've got to have these guys answer the bell at 1:00 on Sunday, no matter what. And that's what I like from I saw that was lacking from this football team. So that's why I question whether or not Kevin Stefanski can get him over the hump. Because nice guys finish last in the National Football League.
Yeah. Reason I made that face because
Tony Dungy didn't finish last.
Wait a minute.
Okay,
I said that because Christy loved Perion, and then I was like, he ain't done nothing yet, and then he turned around.
He hasn't. I've been very disappointed in Perion Winfrey, but Mr. Langhorne also said you don't get handed Super Bowls as a head coach. Well, I personally think that Chucky was handed a Super Bowl when he went into Tony Dungy's team. So, and Tony Dungy was that nice guy. And Tony Dungy, I used to imagine him taking the guys into the locker rooms during halftime when they were down by a lot and be like, all right, guys, you need to really start stepping up your game. I don't think that he went in there and went off on them or anything, and it worked for some reason, but I don't see it working with any other coach.
You know why it worked with Tony Dungy? There's a guy by the name of Peyton Manning on the center. It sure does help.
But it worked when he was in Tampa too. When he was that coach in Tampa, it worked for him too. He did great.
Right.
You played for the Colts, but we're not going to talk about it. We talk about different sports. We're not going to get on that now. Let's get to it. As you well know, the schedule came out tonight. And I think everybody's got a look at it now, and like I said before, Christy thinks it's 14-3. I think it's 12-5. It's really hard to say that because nothing's really transpired just yet. But we want to get into the discussion. So, Reggie, I want to ask you, you're looking at the schedule. What do you think about this schedule? You think that it's soft? You think it's in the middle, or is it kind of complex? Because the AFC, I really feel the AFC North is the hardest division in football. Because you got Burrows there, you got Tomlin,
you got to be wearing your first 5 games. Yeah. I'm looking at this as we go. Cincy, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Baltimore, San Francisco, in Indy. Give or take Indy, they can't figure out a quarterback. Seattle plays tougher than you think. Arizona came here and beat our pants off of us. So, I mean, you can't say you can blow them out because they beat us at home.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and then you got Baltimore again, Pittsburgh again, Denver, give or take. Russell Wilson, he's got a new situation in Denver. May work out better for him. The Rams, give or take. Jacksonville. Jacksonville was a team I cheered for in the playoffs last year. I like their head coach. I like the young Trevor at quarterback. I just think they've got some clicking in the AFC. Chicago, give or take. Houston, no. Jets, I know they're gonna get Aaron Rodgers, but I'm over Aaron Rodgers. I'm kind of tired of him.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had enough of him, boy. I tell you, the NFL. So he's one of those guys that thinks the NFL works because he's in the NFL. The logo never goes away. And so when he disappears into the sunset, the NFL will still play football on Sunday, whether Aaron Rodgers is there or not. I'm just over him. I had enough of him.
You made my heart flutter even more, Mr. Langhorne.
So if you break that down, what does it come to you? I mean, just right now at the top of your head, on paper, we know, like we discussed, what is that to you? 12-5, 14-3, 13-4. What do you think?
So let me ask you this, and then this is just me, and I'm looking at this schedule, and you guys got some double-digit numbers up there. That hasn't happened in 2 years. You're talking 13, 14 wins. That means you're going to lose to 2 or 3 teams. That means you're going to swipe your division.
Yeah.
That means you're going to beat everybody twice. You're going to jump over Cincinnati twice, Pittsburgh twice,
and
Baltimore twice.
I think we'll lose the Ravens once.
Wait a minute. Hear the man out, Cookie, because he's saying logic that I've been trying to beat in her head. She just won't.
But I'm giving you my
I was trying to be, trying to be like, okay, cool. And then, with all these things, like I said, it's just too much. It's too much, and it's just not logical. And I agree with you.
I'll say this to you. I think it was last season. There were 6 games before originally Deshaun was supposed to come back, and we were all trying to figure out. They could beat the Jets. They could do this. They should beat this team, and they should be 4-2. They should be 5-1. And what were they after 6 games last year?
I don't even want to.
It wasn't good.
It
wasn't good.
4 or 5-1.
Yeah. No, there was 2-4, 3-3, whatever it was. It was bad because I believe who ran the ball on them? Atlanta ran the ball on them, and the Jets beat them by 13 points in less than 2 minutes. So that's what I'm saying. This thing's got to be played out. You can look at these things now. I tell you this though, and this is one of my old stories.
Okay.
When I got here in '85 with Kosar and we all started playing and we went to the playoffs our first year, for the next 3 or 4 years, I could look at a schedule just like this and I could tell you we're going 12-4. I could tell you we're going 11-5. And that was just a rough estimate. Obviously, I wanted to go 16-0, but I just say to myself, these guys are tough. They're pretty good. We're going to lose 1 or 2 here and there, but we're going to win this many games because we were consistently playing in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a team that's not consistently done anything right.
Correct. Yes, right.
But I have faith that one day they'll get it right.
I got faith in God too, but that don't mean they're gonna win football games for the Browns.
It's gotta happen, Reggie. It's gotta happen. I feel this in my soul. We started in 1946. I'm gonna be 46 years old this season, and it's a sign.
I think it's possible. And again, it just goes back to football and the simplicity of it. You've got to block and run. Nick Chubb can do anything he wants out there. Right. If you can complete the 3rd down conversions and stop the run and minimize penalties, you've got a good chance of playing good football. And all you want to do is be in the game in the 4th quarter. And I think that Deshaun will be a better quarterback than he was the last 6 games. Because I tell you, he showed me nothing in those last 6 games, maybe a play here or a play there, but I've seen him play great football. So I know it's still in him. It's just going to be reps. So I expect big things from him. And I'm always cheering I cheer Brandon Owens just like you guys do. I want him to do well. I'd like to see the city happy, and the city is so much happier when they win football games.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
No truer words have been spoken. All right, we up against it. Now, I got to ask you the treacherous question I ask all the former Browns players when they come on.
It's not treacherous. It's not treacherous.
It is as a fan.
Some people believe, some people don't. So I'm gonna ask you, Reggie, does Art Modell deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Woo!
No hesitation. That was quick.
Not even. It's because I've been asked that before.
Yeah.
And my answer is always going to be the same. And yes, what was done in Cleveland, in a lot of people's eyes, Art wasn't the only one responsible for everything that transpired while the team left Cleveland. But while we were here, while I was in Cleveland, my experience with Art Modell was he would do anything for his players. And I'll tell you scenarios. I'll tell you 2 or 3 situations that I personally have experienced, and the reason why I know. Art helped me out in situations. Art made sure that we were in the community every Tuesday when you were a rookie. Every Tuesday as you played for the Browns, you were in a hospital, a school, some charity event. Art instilled in us that we must get involved in this community and do right by the city. That was a big deal. Dino Lucarelli was a big person as far as making sure that we had somewhere to go. Art taught us that if you went to a big school and didn't have to do anything because you were a superstar, when you got to Cleveland, you were going to be somewhere. And there wasn't cameras. There wasn't a bunch of security around us. And every time we went to a school to speak, and every time we went to some recreation center, Boys and Girls Club, there wasn't cameras. Art and Dino Lucarelli just made sure that we showed up. And I will say this, Art took some of my teammates to the Super Bowl when Baltimore went. Yeah. Art also opened the doors of the Baltimore Raven doors for us at any time we wanted to come by. Kevin Byrne, Ozzie Newsome, Bill Tessendorf, Mark Smith, all those folks that worked for the Browns when they were here, we had carte blanche in Baltimore. When I went to Baltimore to watch baseball, Ozzie Newsome got my tickets down in front at what they call it, Oreo Stadium. They call it Camden Yards. Yeah. So Baltimore still is a part of us in a small way. Because the people that we grew up with here in Cleveland, all they did was move. Their love for us never changed.
As a fan,
so a lot of people want to see it that way, but it's not that way. I see Ozzie. He's my frat brother. I see Ozzie every time they come. Hampton and Ozzie are best of friends. We're still one in our hearts, but we're all Cleveland. I don't see myself as a Baltimore Raven. I'm a Cleveland Brown.
Ooh, yeah, man, that was wow. That was powerful.
When Art died, if I'm not mistaken, there's a few guys from here that flew to pay respects to Art. Mm-hmm. I mean, Art was big in this city. He was a big community leader, and the input that he put in here speaks volume. Now, he was part of the group that started Monday Night Football. All those old heads that were part of what Art did. Now, him taking his team from the city at any point was wrong. I thought it was absolutely impossible. Metcalf called me and said, "Hey, the team's leaving Cleveland." Man, there's no way those fans in Cleveland gonna let that team. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're packing up, and I absolutely couldn't believe that they were gone. And we came here to do a couple of golf tournaments. I think Bernie had some golf tournaments here, and the team wasn't here. And it was different. It was different to be a part of Cleveland anything and not have a football team.
Yeah. As a fan, it was really hard.
Yeah,
it was hard. You know, they went out there and kind of like defecated on his grave, and I thought that was like so disrespectful.
Yeah, you know, there's no need for all that. But there's a lot of pissed off people because remember when they burned LeBron James jersey downtown, but then when he came home and won the championship, woo LeBron.
Hey, this is my LeBron fathead.
How about that?
When he left Cleveland, the first time I took it out once when they won the national championship in Cleveland, and I put it back. But I've kept it ever since then. That's my LeBron
I had one, and I moved, and I couldn't pull it off the wall without ripping it. I was so disgusted.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get it off without breaking it. I can't get it, and I had to leave it.
You're supposed to put a hairdryer on it.
Yeah. Hey, Marky, that's not a Johnny Manziel jersey you're wearing, is it?
Oh no! That's a whole other discussion because I had one of my friends, God rest his soul. He used to, I worked for the Browns for a couple of years. I was just vending and sell beer and stuff. And I used to be at the stadium, and when I was a little bit younger. I couldn't possibly do that now. But I was up there and he would tell me like, yo, man, hey, man, they talking about getting man. I was like, what? He told me 3 days ahead of time that they was going to draft. I said, man, you got to be kidding me. But it happened and it is what it is.
You do stuff like this.
Burn that. Yeah,
you do stuff like you do stuff like this. All better.
But,
that's a cool jersey.
Yeah.
We've reached the end of the show. I want to thank like I said, Browns legend Reggie. I appreciate you so much for coming on the show, man.
All good, Chrissy. Thank you guys for having me. I got a lot of stuff happening in life, but I try to stay true to Cleveland and stay true to the people that respect and love the organization. There's a lot of people. The Browns football is forever. It's all over the world. Browns backers groups all over the world. So
correct.
I thank you guys for having me on. I always like to chat about a little football, but remember, Christian, nobody wins a Super Bowl in May.
I know. And I will tell you, there are Browns fans worldwide because I have a big group.
363 different chapters, all the way from like New Zealand to Germany, all over it. It is crazy.
But I've got a positive Browns Facebook group. We've got almost 11,000 members. That's how I met Mr. Pimpin. And we have them all over the globe.
Beautiful. Hey, listen, Chrissy, what was your record? What was your prediction for the season?
For this season coming up, it's 14-3.
14-3. So how about week 10 or 11? You guys let me do this again with y'all, and then we'll have another talk.
I love it. Yes, it's a date.
And then what we're going to do is replay this. So you put this in your file, and then you play it, and then we're going to sit here and do it, okay?
Trust me, he will. He pulls up all kinds of stuff. You should see what I've done.
Wow, what a show. I don't know what to say. Like I say, hold the thought. Like I say every week, go Browns, bitches. And we'll see y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for having me on. God bless you guys. Take care. Enjoy, baby. Always love.